Hi, Dr. Anderson-Fye. It's so great to see you.
Hi, Dr. Jeunnette. It is so good to see you. Although I cannot wait to see you in person in July.
Yes, we're still working remotely in this Zoom world, but I'm excited for July. And I'm excited that we'll be in person for the academic year in the fall.
Oh, so am I. I am almost literally counting the days to be back. I never thought I could appreciate like being back in a classroom quite this much.
I agree. Well, it's so great to talk to you about our master's program. Why don't we introduce ourselves to start? Go ahead.
That sounds great. My name is Eileen Anderson-Fye, and I am the director of the MA in Bioethics and Medical Humanities at Case Western Reserve School of Medicine. I direct all of our educational programs. I am a psychological and medical anthropologist by training and love working in this amazing interdisciplinary world that we have at Case Western Reserve.
I am Jeunnette. I am the Assistant Director of Education in the Department of Bioethics. I am a clinical ethicist and bioethicist by training. I'm also a Senior Research Associate. I've been here about 5 years. I absolutely love being able to combine my interest in clinical ethics and academia. It's been a great transition to be able to kind of straddle these two worlds. And to work with Dr. Anderson-Fye has been a wonderful experience these last few years. So Dr. Anderson-Fye, I want to pose a question to you that we get a lot from interested students and those who just really aren't familiar with our world. And that's, what is bioethics and medical humanities?
That is a very good question. It's a mouthful, first of all. But in some ways, the easiest way to explain it is it's the non-biological aspects of health and medicine and healing and human suffering, behavior, all of these things. I actually think that a lot of what we do in bioethics and medical humanities has been made really vivid in this pandemic, right? Because we have illness, we have medical discovery, we have technologies, we have public health behaviors, but the questions of understanding what should we do, when, under what conditions, what are people actually doing, and why? How can we encourage certain kinds of public health behaviors? How can we make sure that our amazing medical technologies and innovations are equally distributed and with a mind toward justice? So all of those different kinds of questions in the gray area, right? About what do people believe? What are people doing? What should people be doing? What do people actually do? And how to reduce human suffering and improve human health. That is kind of the complex interdisciplinary world in which bioethics and medical humanities delves.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that. I think the pandemic has made this area of study so much more visible for people.
I think that's true. So there are issues across the lifespan, right? From conception and birth through questions of adolescent medicine, all kinds of adults, death and dying, thinking about stem cell technologies, some of our new, scientific discoveries and innovations, and thinking about some of the ethical and social justice components of those, in addition to people like me who work in global health and are thinking about how do you encourage something like mental health and well-being in a place with high stress load and scarce resources. So that whole range of questions is what we engage in, as well as better than I do even. The everyday life and death questions that happen in a clinical context, at the bedside in clinical medicine. So that whole array is the world in which we engage.
Absolutely. So our program has been around for 25 years. And actually this year starting this fall will be our 26th year, which is incredible. What makes our master's program so unique that we've been around this long?
It is. It's one of the most enduring in the country, for sure, and one of the most vibrant. I think there are a lot of reasons why. The first reason I would point to this kind of wide array of area of study that I just outlined. We very carefully make sure that our faculty, who are all research active, cover a wide and diverse array of topics and approaches. So we're very interdisciplinary. We have social scientists, we have humanists, we have MDs, we have a really arts specialist. We have a diverse set of expertise represented in our faculty and in our research portfolios. So it's an incredibly well-rounded program compared to others. But one of the things that makes it so special to me and why I love coming to work every day, whether it's on Zoom or better yet, like walking the hallways, is it's an R1 university. Our research faculty are second to none. Federal funding, active research portfolios making a difference in the world, but every single one of our faculty is dedicated to education, cares passionately about students, wants to be a mentor, wants to be a teacher, wants to be standing at the bedside and precepting clinical observations. So I think the kind of heart and the mind and the soul of our department is something that makes it really unique at a very competitive medical school. I would also say that our clinical internship, clinical observations is something very unique nationally. So each semester, our master's students are getting 80 hours of clinical immersion and clinical observations and precepting and really learning what actually happens in a clinical setting. And that includes public hospitals and private hospitals. It includes things like hospice and even the county jail. So that kind of breadth and depth of clinical observations and practicum is just, extraordinary. As you know, our department, in addition to excellent classroom education, we offer some really unique experiences like short-term international programs and other kinds of travel programs where our students can go from 1 to 3 weeks and be immersed in another culture with faculty from that. I want to say country, but of course we have one running in the national parks in the US, but in that context, as well as our own faculty who have been pairing for years running this program. So the depth and breadth, all at a level of excellence, really provides something unique and special for our students that they end up coming back and talking to us about over the course of their career.
Yeah, it's a great explanation as to what makes our program so unique. So for those who are interested in applying, how does this help their career path?
Mm-hmm. So we have gotten a lot of feedback on this from our amazing, vibrant alumni community. So I am delighted to say that many of our students come in pre-med or preclinical in some way. And this experience before they go on to their graduate program as a doctor or a nurse or a PA or some other kind of clinical profession, it gives them this amazing kind of ethical and humanistic grounding that it propels them throughout the rest of their career and gives them a different kind of direction. Our program is also considered an enhancer program in terms of getting into a clinical program, a medical school or a nursing school or something like that. So it tends to enhance a candidate's holistic application. For our students, we have a diverse array of students, and our students who are going in another direction, maybe they're going on for a degree in law or going for a PhD or going into some kind of nonprofit work. Having this kind of academic rigor in their background, looking at ethical, humanistic, social issues, as well as that kind of clinical exposure, gives them a leg up as they go. We had students this past year go on to PhDs in things like sociology or anthropology or philosophy, or areas like health law or clinical ethics, research ethics. And our program kind of gives them such a solid base from which to take their next career steps. You know what? One other thing I want to mention is now, as you point out, after 25 years, the other thing I've been hearing about lately is the power of the alumni network. Basically, our students who are coming in, we have alums all over the country and all over the world who are in the same career paths, and they reach their hands back to our program. It's a program where people stay connected. And so our students can get advice, they can get networking, they can have a community of people who have had this shared experience.
Yeah, it's been great to hear from some of our alumni. There's one that comes to the top of my mind. Early in the pandemic, she was being interviewed on some of the news networks about what it's like to be an emergency room physician and think not only as a doctor, but as someone that's trained in ethics, right? So it was amazing for our students to go, that could be me someday.
Yes. And, you know, it was astonishing to me that even in a pandemic, a word that I heard a lot this year, which was wonderful, is that people felt like they were part of the Case Western Reserve Bioethics and Medical Humanities family. And I think that's shared across students, alum, faculty, and staff. So it's a high caliber program, and it is also a program with heart, where this is something else exceptional about it. Every student gets a mentor who they work closely with. And so there are certain basic requirements of the program that all students get. But then a good chunk of the program, students will individualize their learning trajectory for their own personal and professional goals, along with their mentor. And that is something that I care deeply about.
Absolutely.
I want to ask you some questions.
Yeah, sure.
If somebody is interested in applying this program, can you tell us about the application requirements?
Sure. So there's an online application they're going to complete. They'll also submit their transcripts. For the purposes of reviewing, unofficial transcripts are okay to upload. We ask for a CV or a resume, 2 letters of recommendation. One would be from a faculty or a professor that they've had, a statement of purpose, and then there's a $50 application fee. If there is some financial constraints, they can reach out to us. And at the end, we'll give them a way to reach out to us so we can give them a fee waiver code. And then this year, because of the pandemic, we know that testing such as GREs, MCATs, LSATs has been a challenge. And so we have waived test scores this year. So test scores are entirely optional for students.
Okay, and after a student applies,
Yeah.
about how long will it take until they get contacted for an interview?
Yeah, so provided the entire application package is complete, usually the letters of recommendation take the longest. I would say it takes probably about a week to hear from us to set up an interview. Interviews are conducted on Zoom, which has been really great to be able to have a one-on-one conversation. And then I would say it takes maybe another week or two to have a decision rendered from us. So it's a pretty quick turnaround, which has been really nice to be able to offer students.
That's great. And I get asked a lot by students, what should I include in my statement of purpose? So what would you share about that?
Yeah, I would say the statement of purpose is a way for students to share their interest in bioethics and medical humanities. So why are they interested in that field of study? And ultimately, how does this program fit into their career path? And that could include they're discerning what their career path is. So it may be that they're still figuring it out. And that's a beautiful thing for us to hear. We like the transparency. It really only has to be 1 to 2 pages. We're not looking for, your entire life story. We just really want to get to the heart of why does bioethics and medical humanities matter to you?
I love what you said there about discernment. I think that's actually another reason why students come to our program, because in our foundations classes and in their clinical rotations, they get a huge diversity of exposure. And oftentimes I've had many advisees who they know they want to do something in the health field, the medical field, they don't know exactly what, and then they see it and their passion is ignited and they're like that, or they thought they wanted to do something and then they're in it and they're like, nope, I want to take another path. So I think that discernment piece and having such a diverse faculty and staff to talk to about it really helps. So what is our last application deadline this year?
Yeah, our last deadline is August 1st. So you need to be able to hit submit on the application August 1st. Letters of recommendation can come in after that point, but it becomes a very tight turnaround. And so you really want to make sure that you're getting your application in as soon as possible. So if you can get it in sooner than August 1st, that really does help with getting everything in earlier than that. Classes start August 23rd. And so you really want to think those things through. We are having in-person classes. And so students are going to have to be moving to Cleveland and finding an apartment and all of those things. So you want to make sure that you're thinking through your timeline, but final deadline for submission is August 1st.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else that we want to share with students before we go?
Yeah, the other thing I was just thinking about, if somebody has a question, is this program right for me? Am I right for this program? Because fit is so important. Or, I was thinking I could go this way with my statement or this way. Or, gosh, my GPA, I had a really bad year. Is this going to be good enough? If there are any questions that a potential applicant or an applicant has along the way, please reach out to us and please feel free. That's why we're here. If you have accepted the application and you're having, don't know where to begin to look for an apartment, reach out to us regardless of what it is. And if we can't help you with it, I'm sure we know someone who can.
Yeah, the best way to reach out to us is our email, bioethics@case.edu. We are monitoring that email. We will get back to you with either the answer or set up a time to talk. either phone or Zoom. The other thing I will add is for students who have been admitted to the program and are undecided, or admitted and have made a decision to come, we're going to be having some upcoming dates of some Zoom interactions for you to ask questions of us live. And so we'll have opportunities to do that as well. So keep your eyes out for those as well.
That sounds great. Dr. Jeunnette, it is so good to see you, and I cannot wait to give you a hug. And please, we're delighted to speak with our incoming applicants. We're happy to connect you with a student who's graduating or one of our alum if you want to get a peer-to-peer perspective, any way that we can help. So thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Email is bioethics@case.edu. Reach out to us. Thank you so much.